Guess how he proposed to her? He said, it's not like you are deserving of this ring, but God said I should marry you. I mean, what kind of thing is that? God said I should marry you. That's why I'm doing it. Help me to obey God. Is she the Holy Spirit that will help you to obey God? There's something that she did that opened the gateway for the devil to do what he wanted to do. And I'll tell you that. Guess what she did? He said that that's why you are still single at this age and nobody wants to get married to you. And that was what happened to her. So today I watched a very interesting movie and I would like to share with you the very interesting part. I mean, my takeaways from this particular movie. And I'll also be doing a movie recap on this particular movie. So stay tuned, guys, because I'm going to be taking you through a very interesting roller coaster. So let's dive right into it. So let's start with this. We have a lady who is actually a self-made lady. When I mean a self-made lady, I'm talking about a lady who has the job she's doing. She's not dependent on any man for any single thing. Yes. And she has her work. Guess what? She even has a building of her own. She has a car of hers. And she's a lady. She's a complete lady. Yes. But then the society is pressuring her into doing something that we know society does every single time. They want her to get married, and the pressure is getting worse by the day. Her mom calls her literally every single day to tell her about how single she is and about how her friends, her cousins are all married and they all have children, and she is 33 years going on 34. And so let's start with how that movie actually started. So yes, she's looking for a man who is God-fearing, according to her, tongue-speaking. Yes, so, and yeah, the man with the right looks is very important, and the right job. I mean, the guy has to have at least something doing, you get, before she can actually venture into such kind of relationship. And then guess what? She had a suspicion that one of her colleagues at work actually liked her and stuff like that. And she made up her mind that she was going to go and meet that. She was waiting for the guy. The guy already said that he's interested in someone, and because he's interested in someone, that he would let her know soon, because they usually talk every time. And her mind, she already told her clique of friends. They call them Three Musketeers. So they have a group chat with it's called Three Musketeers. And her friends were already like, okay, let's see. So that she needs to go and meet this guy and tell him. And her friends were like, no, don't tell him. One of them will say, no, you can tell him. What do you have to lose? In short, you get. And while she was still thinking and contemplating, she got to office that day and was like, okay, let me tell him. And he was also excited to see her, because he said anytime she comes to give him any kind of news, it's really good news that will help build the company. So he was all about building the company. And that was why they were still trying to discuss and have a very beautiful conversation. One of the junior staff walked in and she went straight to the guy and she was like, why, you can see that two partners of the company are actually talking, why would you just barge in like that, and just start disrupting this whole conversation? And then she was like, the junior staff was like, have you not told her? And she was like, told me what are you talking about? They were actually getting married. Okay, oh my god, if you check one of the comments, I was like, he was like, you're looking at the next Mrs. Babatunde. And Juliana was like, your father is married now, what are you talking about? Not knowing that he was the one. She got confused at that point, because she really thought that he actually liked her. At that point, she lost all hope. She went home, she was crying. If you watch the part where she was actually crying, you will feel for her, and you will feel what single people really that have stayed single for a very long time are really going through. And there are a lot of lessons to learn. I'll be telling you all the lessons that one can learn from this particular movie. So she cried to God, like she poured out her heart, and there's something that she did that opened the gateway for the devil to do what he wanted to do. And I'll tell you that. Guess what she did? She gave God an ultimatum. He said, God, if I don't see a man this week that I'm entering, I mean, she was like, God, it must be this week. This week, I know that every year I've been saying, this year is my year. This one, I want this year to actually be my year. I want to meet a guy. And guess what? The devil said, okay, let's pick up our mission. Let's get her a guy. And guess what? According to her prayer requests, tongue speaking, good looking, he was still in a way good looking, because I cannot even classify that guy as good looking in my own eye. Rich sha. But according to them, he was still in a way good sha, because rich to me. Then What again she wants? A Christian man, someone who was, involved with the spiritual activity. That was someone that she wanted. And that was the person that she met. The person happened to be her tenant. You can say that this girl was actually high class. Yes. And God always wants the best for his children. Yes. God always wants the best for his children. And this guy was actually her tenant. He just rented the place, her apartment for something and stuff like that. And guess what? They started the relationship. It was going smoothly well until one day, something happened that baffled me. She was having a conversation with her friend. Let's say they were having like their normal group discussion and their normal group what they call it discussion, like phone call, yeah. And then she was like, isn't that this guy? His name is Amata. This Amata guy, she made mention of something about him. And guess what he did? He collected the phone from, and it was not like it was a bad thing that she made mention of. You know how you are talking to your friends and you guys are just chit-chatting, playing and saying some stuff that didn't even make any, like, I not even hurt a fly. So she made mention of something, and that threw the guy off balance. He got her phone and cut the call, and was like, "Why would you?" That's why he said that's why you are still single at this age, and nobody wants to get married to you. You can imagine he played with her emotions. If she had any form of mental stability at that time, her self-esteem would have reduced at that point in time, and that was what happened to her. And guess what happened again? So while she was still struggling with this guy, there was another guy that actually liked her so much from secondary school, and she met this guy in her office. He was one of their very big clients, and she did not want to lose that kind of client. You can imagine that kind of thing. And because she didn't want to lose that client, she met the guy. When she met the guy was like, "Oh my god, is this not you?" She was like, "Yes, it's you. Your face is very familiar, and I want to, let's just get talking." And the guy, guess what? The guy has good character. Amata had very bad character, but then he was a Christian, according to him, a believer that said from the beginning that he doesn't have that kind of patience, that anything he wants is going to get it. Can you imagine that kind of thing? If you check comment section, people were like, that was enough red flag for her to know. And it was even very red that time. You see the kind of comment that the movie was actually getting. So let's get back into the movie. So there's TJ. That's the guy that's her schoolmate that actually likes her genuinely, according to him. But this guy has good character. He was an opposite of Amata. But he was actually a married man, and he was a Muslim. And he was on her case, like every single time he was on her case, trying to get her to, do one or two things. He was really a caring guy throughout that movie. But she was, at some point, she became confused. Who should I go for? Should I go for Amata, or I should go for TJ? Amata is the God-fearing guy that I want, this and that, blah blah blah, tongue speaking, you get. But then he has a little bit of temper and anger issues. But TJ is of good character, but then he's not a believer. He doesn't believe in God. He doesn't believe that Jesus is God, because TJ said that we are all worshiping the same God, and because we are all worshiping the same God, she was like, we're not worshiping the same God. Yes, God is everywhere, but we are not worshiping the same God. And he was like, he believes in God. He said, we all believe in God, but do you believe that Jesus is God? And that was where the whole thing, I was like, no, I believe in you. And I'm like, what the hell is this, man? So TJ was actually a guy who was really caring towards her. Amata was a wife beater. All I put it, yes, because he abuses her emotionally and also physically. Can you imagine that? And then there was TJ. And she became confused, and she went to her counselor, and guess who played counselor? Yes, so it was Laju IREN that played counselor. And there's some takeaway points that I would like to share with you guys. One of the takeaway points is that it's better to be single, hoping to be married or wishing to be married, than to be married and you're not hoping that you made the right choice when you made the wrong choice in your single stage. You get that kind of thing. So that means don't rush into all these marriage stuffs. She also said that it better make you reach where they go 9 o'clock, than for you to get to the hospital 8 o'clock because you are rushing. That one hits very, very well, very, very well. So that means rushing will not take anybody anywhere. Yes, take your time, do everything. What's the worst that can happen? In God's own clock, God is still on time, but in your human clock, like time is out. You're running out of time. But that's not, what if that's not God's plan for you? What are you going to do about it? So take note of that. And another one is, do you want to marry now or do you want to marry well? And guess what? She has a purpose. And God showed her in visions. I mean, she had dreams in that movie too, whereby she wanted to go evangelism with the guy you get, with her, whoever her husband is going to be. But then TJ cannot give her that. Yes, but Amata can give her that. But in that vision that she saw, before they even went for that evangelism, he beat her up. You can imagine that. So how does she want to be happy, fulfilling God's purpose? And she said that God has shown her that she's going to take care of, young generation, young girls. That was her purpose. Teaching and training up young girls. But then the counselor asked her this question: have you started what's holding you from starting your purpose? And she was like, she wanted to do it with her partner. For how many years God has given you this vision? You kept it on hold because you want to get married. No. He said it is in your purpose that you will find God's plan and God's plan for your marriage. You find God's will for you in marriage when you are in your purpose. So don't start chasing the wrong thing. Another thing is that sin is not just wanting bad things, it is wanting good things badly. You understand? So she really wanted marriage so badly that she idolized marriage so much that everything. Guess what? Amata proposed to her in that movie. Yes. He proposed to Abidemi, and Abidemi was, guess how he proposed to her? He said, it's not like you're deserving of this ring, but God said I should marry you. I mean, what kind of thing is that? God said I should marry you. That's why I'm doing it. Help me to obey God. And you see, correct people are like, is she the Holy Spirit that will help you to obey God? I don't understand. Then guess what he did? He dropped the ring and told her to wear it. She didn't even have a choice to he didn't even ask her, what did God say about me? Do you understand? It was later, after the counseling session, she told Amata that God told me that my husband will be someone who respects me, will be someone. She mentioned so many things, and you are not that person. She went to the counselor with two options. She was like, it's either I get married to Amata or I get married to TJ. And the counselor told her that, what of the third option? And she was like, there's nobody else. And the counselor said, I'm not talking about the nobody else. What of the third option? She said, no, I cannot be single. I cannot be single. She said, leave that thing alone. What's the worst thing? If you get married and you get married wrongly, and the end is you end up not enjoying your marriage. Marriage alone has a hardship. It's not like you now go into it with the wrong person and you just suffer throughout, when you have God's purpose that are supposed to be pursuing. And and the third option was singleness. I said singleness is not a curse, it's a gift, because when you're single, you are whole. That's when you have the opportunity to actually serve God and do everything that you need to do. Is it when you have kids that you're not be doing God's purpose? It's not when you're single you start doing all these things. And she made mention of how she said that when we are two will chase 10,000. And the counselor said it is when one is already chasing 1,000 that two will now chase 10,000. It's not when one is not chasing anything that two will now come and start chasing 10,000. It doesn't work that way. One will be chasing that 1,000 first before the second will now come together. And when they come together, that means there's already a purpose that is moving. Yes, the person will meet you in purpose. Not that the person will meet you not doing purpose, and when you get married, now want to start doing it. It's maybe like that's not what you bargained. The person met you in this. The person cannot now come and stop you from it. Instead, they join you to fulfill your purpose. And they give her a third option, which was singleness. Singleness is not a curse, it's a gift. Yes, you don't need a ring on your finger to make your life count. That's how she puts it. You don't need a ring on your finger to make your life count. Your life actually counts even as a single person. Do you understand? So last to marry is not a fool. That's what she said. Last to marry is not a fool. Yeah, so you're feeling like you're the only one among your clique of 302 friends, and you're wondering that out of 302 friends that are married, I've just been doing bridesmaids since I'm not married. She said last to marry is not a fool. So don't get clouded and want marriage too much that you now start idolizing marriage. Yes, people idolize marriage. thinking that, oh yes, so is my every little thing they turn left, right, center. They're just looking for what? Marriage. And it was because she gave that ultimatum that this week I must find. She found two guys that same week. Guess what? And none of them were God's will for her. Even till the film ended, she ended up being single, but then she was chasing her own 1000. She started her ministry of, working with single girls. And I believe that the movie did not end in her getting married, but it ended in her meeting someone. Yes, because there was a guy that said he heard about what she was doing and wanted to support what she was doing, when it comes to publicity and photography. If that movie had continued, we would have seen where it would lead to. But they never showed us the face of the guy. So it was like, this is like an open ending. Anything can happen here, but don't let marriage be the last option for you. No, marriage is not the last option. And last to marry is not a fool. So that's my takeaway from this movie, Last to Marry. If you have any other additions or any other thing that you feel like I missed in this particular video, do well to let me know down there in the comment section. Until then, guys, see you in my next video. Bye bye.